So how should we transition a royal from a rack to a viv? Well, I've come up with soft transition and hard transition, but I've basically transferred this from things with wildlife rehab. Hard transition is like when you see a goose and they open a container and they're like, get out. And then you see soft transition, well, basically they'll do an enclosure outside and they'll still feed it, and then they'll go from not feeding it to leaving the door open, then let it come and go, and then eventually they shut the gate and it's gone. So that's why I've taken this from soft transition to hard transition. So hard transition, what I'm defining this is as when you chuck the snake directly in the viv, that is directly a roll of dice. So, and then a soft transition is you learn as much about how that royal was previously kept by the breeder, and then you try and replicate that for the animal. So I'm talking like get a rub, take a hole saw to it, put a hole on the lid, heat mat underneath it, same sort of shavings, furnishings as what was in the rack, a water bowl in there, basically set up a mini rack system scenario in your vivarium with a hole on top, and you let the snake come and go at the pace that it wants. And the most important part of this is that we have no expectations of the snake. So many of us have expectations of the snake, but we don't realise it. Oh, I want to hold it. Oh, I want to do this. I want to be an outgoing snake. Oh, I want to show my mates. The important part is that we, as the person and the keeper, have no expectations of the snakes, and we just let it be, do what it is going to do. If it hits the ground running, great. If not, you put a contingency in place. Again, the coping style of stress comes into this. If you've got a bold and proactive coping style of stress, you may succeed in a hard transition. If you've got a withdrawn and passive style, it's very, very likely that the hard transition's going to mean you're going to have to walk it back and then try A3 again. And that soft transition, that passive and withdrawn style and proactive doesn't necessarily mean positive proactive. If a corn snake turns around and rattles and runs or bites, the running is proactive. It's when they freeze and not flight that is where it's passive and withdrawn.